Financial success requires a high level of financial intelligence. Join Dr. Nick as he creates a wealthy mind only on ZFM Stereo.
Hello and welcome again, our viewers and listeners. Those of us that follow us on ZFM, thank you very much for being a part of what God is using us to do as far as empowerment is concerned. My name is Dr. Nick OHIZU. I am the senior pastor of the Redeemed House of God Church in Harare, Zimbabwe, and at the same time, the president of the Empowerment School of Wealth headquartered in Zimbabwe. We've started bringing in a video content of our empowerment session called Creating the Wealthy Mind. I want to thank you for taking time to watch. My assignment is to help us as Africans to transform our minds when it comes to issues of financial intelligence and entrepreneurship from a godly perspective. And I believe that taking time to watch this video will be a blessing to you. The last session we did, I started a series on creating the wealthy mind, and I call it Dealing with the Black Mentality. Just to give a recap of what we have done so far, I said that a lot of Africans are so much engrossed in accelerating their prosperity and accelerating their business growth. And I made mention of some things that we need to put into consideration before we even get to a place of acceleration. And I said the first one is to understand the meaning of acceleration, which means to increase speed. And I said it is a mechanical engineering concept which is taken from automobile engineering. And when you understand acceleration to mean increased speed, it means that before we increase speed, we have to look at certain things. And the first one is to acknowledge the engine capacity, and the second one is to put into consideration malfunctioning components, and the third one is to look at present environmental conditions, and the fourth one, which looks at maturity and qualification and mental prowess of the driver. So, having put all these things together, looking at these challenges together that can hinder the acceleration of one's speed when it comes to the concept of entrepreneurship, we have the following results. So, when you translate these challenges and bring them into entrepreneurial concept, we realize the following things, and this is where I stopped last week. The first thing we realize is that you cannot put an unqualified person to grow a business. In other words, entrepreneurship is a profession, and a lot of people in Africa are abusing that profession. What do I mean by that? It simply means that a lot of people that start business in this day and age are starting business out of frustration. So, for example, in Zimbabwe, we have a very difficult economic challenge. So people are struggling. There are a lot of problems financially, you know. So when the normal etiquette of employment is not as productive and profitable as it used to be, a lot of people out of frustration take a step into entrepreneurship to try and get themselves to prosper. However, you realize that that does not necessarily mean that somebody will prosper, okay? You have to make sure that the person running a business is actually qualified to run a business. I remember it was Paul that said to Timothy that you need to study to show yourself approved. What do I mean by that? If you want to become a medical doctor, you go to medical school. If you want to become an engineer, you go to engineering college or school. If you want to become an architect, you go to architectural school. If you want to become a secretary, you go to a secretarial school. You want to do building, you have to go to building school. So every profession on earth requires certain dimension of training. But you realize that it's only in entrepreneurship that people just jump out and start business with no form of background as far as trading is concerned. Having capital and having a product to sell does not necessarily translate to prosperity. So when you take someone that is not equipped mentally as far as entrepreneurship is concerned and put them to run a business, what you face is stagnancy. You stagnate. So most indigenous businesses get to a place of putting food on the table, and that's how far it goes. So a lot of businesses are struggling to go beyond that sole proprietorship syndrome, and that is caused by putting an unqualified person into a managerial position to grow a business. Number two is that your financial status is proportional to your level of financial intelligence. Financial intelligence is the ability to understand financial knowledge as far as business is concerned. You need to be able to understand decision making in business as far as investments are concerned, being creative in your thinking to produce ideas that will attract investors, whether it is personal or outside investors, to take that business to a higher level. So being a Christian can never replace financial intelligence. So it's very good for us to be spiritual, but at the same time, we have to get to a place of acquiring financial intelligence. That's why we have a school called the School of Wealth, where we train people in the areas of financial intelligence, equip them to be able to utilize the knowledge of business management, at the same time, the knowledge and understanding of biblical principles of doing business, and put it together, we produce a result. Number three, God cannot bless you beyond your mental capacity. I am a pastor. I pastor a church in Harare, Zimbabwe. And I believe that it is possible for us to be able to pray for somebody, and the favor of God will come into their lives and begin to make a difference in their finances. That is absolute. I agree with you. But the level that person prospers will be determined by their mental capacity. Somebody like a bus conductor is into transport. Somebody like a bus driver is into transport. Somebody like a pilot is also into transport. But a bus driver cannot be paid the money you pay a pilot. Why? Both of them are ferrying people. Both of them are moving people from point A to point B. Both of them are into transport. But why does a pilot get paid more than a bus driver? Why? Because of the time the pilot took to invest in the knowledge that requires him to move and fly an aeroplane from one point to the other. The bus driver decided to stop at learning how to drive. A lot of us can drive, but a few of us can fly. So it makes the same difference when it comes into prosperity. God cannot bless you beyond your mental capacity. You have to know that. God, because you prayed, cannot get you to be hired to become a pilot while you don't have a pilot license. It's not possible, okay? I, at my level, with all my anointing, cannot fly a plane. And no matter how anointed I am, nobody will hire me to fly an aeroplane. So we have a lot of people that come to God, okay, with the desire to seek his face and asking him to bless them. Now, what happens is this. He wants to bless you, but you have to upgrade your mind. How far you go in life as far as the area of prosperity is concerned will be determined by how far you are willing to upgrade yourself. Okay? If your knowledge is limited to managing a tack shop somewhere, a small shop somewhere, God will prosper you at that level. You make your $50, $100. When you choose to upgrade your knowledge of financial intelligence and business management to a higher level, you realize that you can move a tax shop to become a chain of a chain of supermarkets. And from there, you can move to become a departmental store. From there, you can go to the stock exchange. So as you upgrade yourself mentally, so is God also upgrading you. Okay. Now, number 4, we cannot grow until we invest in our personal development. You realize that a lot of people that are trying to accelerate prosperity in their lives, the last time they attended, just even to invest 15 minutes to watch a video like this, the last time they attended any kind of seminar for personal development, whether it is life coaching sessions, mentorship sessions that had to do with financial knowledge and intelligence, the last time they did that maybe 20 years ago. They are trying to use an archaic knowledge to prosper in a digital generation. That will not happen. The world is moving and developing at the speed of light. You need to upgrade yourself. Learn new things. If you know your areas of deficiency, invest time to study and learn and develop yourself in that area. It's not just enough to have a desire to prosper. You should have the mindset to prosper, the knowledge to prosper, the behavioral pattern of prosperous people, so that you can polish yourself and upgrade yourself. That takes me to number 5, okay? A $20 business cannot go to the stock exchange overnight. Africans, hear me correctly. We need to tell ourselves the truth. This believe it now, receive it now, possess it now syndrome that is cutting across every religious divide is leading a lot of people to commit suicide because we have forgotten that patience is a virtue. Rome was not built in a day, not because they didn't have the material, but because they were building Rome to last. Wealth that will last is accumulated one step at a time. We look at people that profit from government and profit from connections and profit from all kinds of fraud and deception overnight, and we look at them and think that is how prosperity is supposed to be. No, you need to be patient with yourself. You need to be patient with yourself. You cannot spend 40 years of your life making wrong decisions without right knowledge, without financial intelligence, making decisions that would drastically reduce your possibility of prosperity for the past 40 years. And then all of a sudden you rush into a church overnight and you expect the pastor to pray for you and all your problems will be fixed and disappear in a second. No. Gradually, you started making wrong decisions that led you to where you are. Gradually, you will be able to find God and start learning, and you start progressing financially. So, do not be in a hurry. This is what pushes people to go and put their hands in evil, put their hands in fraud, put their hands in occultism, and sell their soul to Satan. Relax. Come on. Rome was not built in a day. One thing I want you to understand is that if you make a decision today and say, Dr. Nick, I want to change my life, I promise you, you will continue to listen, watch these videos and make decisions to follow the other instructions that we are given as we teach. And if it is possible for you, make an effort for you to be part of School of Wealth. I promise you, you will begin to see a change. One thing I know about investing in personal development is that the one that did will always come out better than the one that didn't. If you choose to watch this video, you will learn something today. And I promise you, you'll become better than you were before you learned it. It's like that. Every time you learn something new, you change. Anything that is growing is learning. And if you discover you are no longer growing, you have stopped learning. I'll give you one more before we close for today. Okay? That brings me to the issue of making sure you are selling the right stuff. What do I mean by that? You cannot be expecting yourself to prosper when you have not answered the question, am I selling what the market wants or am I selling what is available? So you realize that so many of us are ignoring determinants of market forces and then think we can go against the wind and prosper. Every environment you find yourself as a market, and that market will be demanding certain things from you. If the market you are is demanding people going into business and becoming entrepreneurs, and you are getting your certificate, your bachelor certificate or master's certificate or doctorate certificate and looking for a job, people that are going into entrepreneurship will start prospering more than you. If your environment is demanding a job, then go and get your bachelor's degree or whatsoever degree you have and look for a job. But in Zimbabwe right now, in Africa right now, the way to go is entrepreneurship. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. We are churning out graduates from our universities and higher education institutions like we are popping popcorn out of the microwave. Who is going to hire them? Africa is struggling to establish employment that is consistent. Why? Factories are closing. People are struggling. Most of the things we're using in Africa, we are importing. Until we have people that decide to create those jobs, we will always have information overload or inflation of education. So I want to say this to you. Before you even think about going into business, think twice again. What am I selling? Is it what is available I can sell? Or is it what is market is demanding? I want to thank you very much because I know that somehow, somewhere, these few minutes we have spent have been a blessing to you. If it has been a blessing to you, please share our page and get people to like what we are doing. And I want you to look forward again for another version of this video coming next week, Monday. I thank you for watching, and I pray that your life begin to take the step to the right direction from the things I'm sharing with you. We have some clips of adverts that are coming in. Even if you are not around to be part of this, encourage somebody to be part of it. I look forward to seeing you in School of Wealth this year again. May God bless you. Dr. Nick, thanking you for watching. Bye-bye.
Every year, more people are facing financial challenges. Many people are struggling to meet their basic needs, and thousands of people are wondering how to pay their next bill. A lot of people are not even able to afford their basic human needs. Others have capital but don't know how to start a business. Some people have businesses that are not growing. There are different levels of limitations that are hindering indigenous entrepreneurs. And all these problems are caused by a poverty mindset and a lack of financial intelligence. Whichever of these challenges you are facing right now, there is a one-stop shop for financial success. Ladies and gentlemen, we introduce you to the School of Wealth, where we are training a new generation of financial champions. Established in 2009 by Dr. Nick OHIZU, we have 10 years experience of turning ordinary people into extraordinary success. This school will teach you how to start your own business, correct your own financial mistakes, raise capital, come out of debt, grow your personal finances, and become a more successful person in life, and so much more. Irrespective of the current economic difficulties, we believe that crisis is an opportunity waiting for those who are prepared for it. It takes only 4 months of study to change your life forever. Join the champions of 2019 and give yourself a financial head start. Our classes run Fridays at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. For registration, please call 0735 532 194. Never postpone the opportunity to change your financial status. Register now.